A lot of people ask me how I plan out my garden. Actually, nobody's asked me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Mostly everything in here is chaotic and random. Lots of stuff just growing on its own already. But there is a method to my madness, and I do take in some important factors when I consider where to plant out my plants. So this is where I start. I grow a bunch of stuff indoors that's gonna make its way to the garden at some point. But what I do is I do not factor how much I need. I kind of just grow out trays of everything. And in the end, the idea is to find homes for these plants. So here's factor number one when I plan out my garden is light. So facing this way is the south. I don't want to plant tall plants like this cherry bomb tomato that's going to grow 20 feet tall to the south because it's going to shade out everything else. So something like this, I'm going to favor to the north side of my garden. And a perfect spot for tomatoes is an area like this. So this way is north. When I plant these tomatoes here, there's going to be a gap here. So most of this stuff will not be shaded out on the other side, and it's comfrey and garlic anyway, which is coming out in July. And we started with some peas along here. So as these tomatoes grow, the peas are going to grow faster. We're going to get a harvest. And by the time the peas are done, the tomatoes are going to shade them out. And then once the tomatoes are going, we plant some beans in front of those. And those are going to climb up the tomatoes. And when these tomatoes are planted all along this row here, it's going to leave me space right in front of them to grow some other crops that might get a little tall, maybe not too tall. They're not going to shade the tomatoes out because the tomatoes are going to grow faster. And one of the cool things about doing a no-till permaculture garden system is we don't have to rotate crops. So if I find a good place for my tomatoes, I could plant them there every single year. And that's what I do. Helps out with the planting process. So what I'll typically do is I'll take my tomatoes, I'll set them where I want to plant them, right in their pots right here, and I'll lay out this whole row. And then after the row is laid out, I'll come back, dig these down, plant all these plants. So let's keep talking about light because that's one of the most important things in planting a garden. As we get closer into summer, the sun is going to move more from the south. You know, in the springtime, the sun is mostly behind these trees here. As we get towards the summer, the sun is going to start coming up further and further north in the sky. So we have this long stretch out to the east where we are going to have bright sun all day long. When it starts to set though, it's going to get behind the house and behind this big maple tree here, and we get a lot of afternoon shade in this location. This garlic that's already here is going to give some afternoon shade. That's why we placed some beets and some carrots over here, as well as some onions. They don't mind a little afternoon shade, and they actually enjoy it. If you want to get technical, all plants enjoy afternoon shade, especially peppers. So peppers will do really good over here, getting that afternoon shade. But talking about the light, we don't want to go ahead and plant some 20-foot tall tomatoes right here, because those are going to shade out these peppers all day long. We still want them to get light most of the day, then afternoon shade. So take that in consideration. You're not going to want to plant your tallest plants to the south or to the east because they're going to block light all day long, and we don't want that. We can plant it to where we can use those plants to give some afternoon shade if we wanted to, maybe planting them further to the west. Just think of where the sun's at most of the day when you're planting stuff, how big they're going to get, and what kind of shade they're going to provide to other plants in your garden. Another factor I consider when planning out my garden is volunteer plants. So if you do a no-till system and you let everything die back in place in the fall, you're going to have some plants that come up on their own the following year. I'm almost at the point to where I don't even have to plant out tomatoes because tomatoes just grow on their own all over the place. Here's an example right here. We got some dill coming up here. Got some dill coming up all through here. Fell off the dill flowers last year. We're going to let this dill take over this section here. Maybe utilize that for attracting some beneficial insects. Maybe we'll plant something here like a cucumber or something that can benefit from having this dill here. And back to the light, the dill's going to get kind of tall. So something like a cucumber that does like some shade will do good here. And it also has this fence to climb up. Got some dill and a tomato here. Now that's fine. We'll still plant another tomato right here. This one we'll probably just let it sprawl across the ground here. Be a nice ground cover. But we're going to plan our planting around that. One of my favorites here, we got some borage. We'll probably have to trim that back once it starts growing. We got some apple trees from seed here that'll get shaded out by it. But as long as we train it that way, it'll be good. Even more borage coming up around here. And this has been kind of crazy. We have garlic from seed. So when I cut the scapes off my garlic, I use it to mulch my garden beds. Well, what happens is those tops expand and a bunch of bulblets fall out and cover everything. So we get a situation like this here. This is all garlic from seed. So as an experiment, I'm just going to leave some of it, and I think we're going to get a garlic harvest next year out of it. We will clear some out to plant in here because we're doing square foot planting in these areas, but we're going to keep some of it. I threw a bunch of weird looking Halloween gourds out into my planting beds as well, so I'm starting to see some of those pop up. Can't remember exactly where they're at, but I'm sure in a couple weeks we'll find out. But stuff like that, it's all free plants. Those are plants we didn't have to work to start. They're just naturally growing. And the thing about the volunteers is they grow better than the stuff you intentionally plant. So why not leave them and plant around them? So we've talked about light, making sure we're not planting stuff that's going to grow tall, shade out the rest of our plants. We're talking about using those taller plants to give some afternoon shade to some of our plants. And we've talked about finding the volunteers that pop up and planting around them. Let's talk about my third factor, which is plants that do better planted together. Now, what I've found over the years is there's really not any bad companions. Like some people say you can't plant certain crops next to each other because they stop each other from growing and just don't do well. I haven't found that. But the thing is, certain plants together do bring in a lot of pests. So if you take a section of your garden and you plant out squashes, cucumbers, pumpkins, all the cucurbits in there, you're going to get all those pests, and you're making a buffet. The traditional garden, where you have rows of the same types of crops, are the absolute worst thing you can do if you want a productive garden. So what I've done to fix that issue is we interplant. It looks chaotic in the end. I think it looks good, but it looks a little chaotic. But what it does is it confuses the pests. So the first thing you want to do is know your pests. Here in Michigan, I know that cucumber beetle is one of the worst things you can deal with because all it takes is one cucumber beetle to nibble on your plant and it's going to die of bacterial wilt. Same goes for squash bugs. Now besides hornworms, which I actually like because they're pollinators and I let them live, tomato really doesn't have any pests. I really don't get many aphid issues here on tomatoes. And tomatoes are kind of stinky. Another stinky plant is basil. So maybe if I'm planting cucumbers, I spread them further apart and I put them amongst the basil. Another major pest for me is going to be slugs. They love these ground cherries and eggplants, which are in the same family as the tomatoes. So I don't know why the slugs don't bother tomatoes, but they love these guys. What I can do in that situation is I can come to my beds of perennial radish. I let my radish go to seed every year, so it self-sows to make a nice ground cover. But these slugs like the radish. You see how the slugs have been nibbling all these radishes? And it's not like I'm going to eat these radishes. Well, not all of them. but the slugs are going to focus on these. So what I can do is I can make an opening in these radishes and plant my ground cherries and eggplants. They'll grow healthy, and these stressed out radishes will take most of the slug pressure. You can see right here, look, we got a slug at work right there on this radish. I forgot a clove of garlic in the ground a couple years ago and kind of just let it go to town here. Well, garlic does repel some pests. It's not as good as people say. Same with chives. You can actually see here there is a slug eating this garlic leaf, which is odd. But this would be a good location to plant an eggplant, and we probably will. Just coming through here, I'm looking here, another bed of garlic here. That's the north. We're going to get afternoon shade. This is going to be a fantastic place to put some bell peppers. I found that bell peppers love being planted on the east side of garlic. Back to the cucumbers. So I'm going to plant tomatoes along here, and we're going to put cucumbers in front of them to climb the tomatoes. Now, instead of going every foot with a cucumber, which is going to cause a cucumber beetle squash bug buffet and breeding ground, maybe I go every 4 to 6 foot, and in between that I put some basil, maybe a little more dill, and maybe some beans, some carrots, just random plantings through here. Confuse the pests. Different plants mixed together mask each other's scent, and the pests really don't know what to do. Last year, I thought I was going to have a beautiful melon fence here. Just a fence full of different melons, cucumbers, all kinds of cool stuff. The pests said, no, that's a bad idea. We were exposed out in the open, too many of the same plants that were alike planted together. They were wiped out and didn't do anything all season. It was a total failure. So this year, we've come through. We started our early planting of onions along the front of this bed with some spaces in between them. These spaces in between are going to get peppers to fill in the gaps that I intentionally left. Then up this fence, we are going to grow some melons, some cucumbers, but in between those, we'll probably throw some beans in there. Then probably mix in some zinnias and some dill as a filler crop. And those flowers attract the good bugs in your garden. They're going to help combat some of these bad bugs. Check out this asparagus bed here. As these spears were just coming up, I put peas around the base of them. Now these peas, you can see, are climbing the asparagus, and they're also fixing nitrogen to this asparagus. Got some peas back there, but look, I got some gaps here that I can plant. And what I did last year was I planted peppers here. They say don't plant peppers next to your asparagus. Well, this is a new asparagus bed I planted last year, and while I'm waiting for this asparagus to be harvestable, I'm going to use this space. So peppers, maybe some beans to help fix more nitrogen in here, just filling out this top with some shallow rooted crops. And that's another factor to consider, the root systems of your plants. Now you're going to have some plants that have deep root systems, some that have very shallow root systems. These peas I talked about have a shallow root system. This asparagus has a deep, wide root system. So we have all that soil not being used on top of these plants that we can utilize. So what if you got a situation like this where your son's garden bed has been taken over by the one strawberry he planted? Now it's covering everything. That is fine. Strawberries are extremely shallow rooted, so all we gotta do is yank out some of these strawberries and we could plant in between them. Maybe we want to do something like plant the zucchini right here at the base of this garlic, and by the time July rolls around and this garlic's coming out, that zucchini will be left alone to take over this whole space. Just different interplanting ideas. Look in here. We have some volunteer purple lettuce coming up inside here, doing really good with this garlic. Maybe if I was intentionally planting this, I can come in here and throw some lettuce between these gaps. Lettuce is shallow rooted. It's not going to take too much away from this garlic, because that garlic at this point is focusing on bulb growth instead of top growth. So they're using different nutrients, and that lettuce wants nitrogen. Same with the dill. The dill is shallow rooted. It's not going to stop this garlic from growing. So when you think you don't have any space to plant, all you got to do is see what's naturally going on here, and stuff is just growing. So here we are, time to plant out the garden with no initial planning. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start grabbing some plants, bringing them in, setting them on the ground, try to find places for them. Once they find places, I'm going to plant those plants. In the end, I'm going to see what I have left. Now, one of the things I typically do is when I have plants left, I sell them. Plants sell really good on Facebook Marketplace. So if you have extras and you're planting that 10-cent seed, and you can sell a plant for $3 to $5, especially if you're growing more rare varieties, you can pay for your whole garden. And if for some reason they don't sell, that's when I'll find a home for them. I got plenty of space in here. We got close to a 1/4 acre in this garden plot. If I got to plant wood chips, whatever, we'll find a home for them. The rain started, so here's where we're at now. Got a lot of stuff out there, starting to organize plants by different groups and types. So here's what we got. We got all the tomatoes out here. We got some of the tomatillos out here. Incorporating some of the basil in between all these tomatoes here. Sneaking an eggplant in here. Some more tomatoes and another eggplant. Just filling in all these spaces. This is new for this year. We're going to see if it works after this rain when all the slugs come out. This is some crushed oyster shell mixed with some perlite and vermiculite just on the surface around these plants. The slugs should not want to cross that. We're going to find out if that works today with this rain. And on that note, it is pouring rain, so I'm going to wait for a break in the rain and hopefully get a lot more of these plants out into the garden. Hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching.